our Noontime Emanuel concert series, which we try and do every month. We missed a month, but there's always kind of a story behind why I have the performers that I have. And most of the time it started with folks that I've worked with through the years and were friends of mine, and I just was like, come on and play in our concerts. Well, a lot of my musician friends have moved out of the area, and so of course I sort of started to reach out to other folks. So I contacted a flautist that I'd played with 2 years ago when we first started this series, and she says, no, I'm sorry, I'm booked, but let me give you a name of somebody. So she gave me a name of someone. I reached out to them. I said, hey, you want to come play my concert series? And she was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm booked. Everybody was booked this fall, right? Everybody. So she said, but I have a name. So she sent me to another name, a gentleman, and so I reached out to him. And of course, you got to put a couple weeks in between when people actually open their emails and get back to me. And so this was probably like August, I was starting. And so that person came back to me and he was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm booked. And so he gave me a name, and the name was Jared. Yay! So I was like, I emailed Jared and I said, hi, you don't know who I am, but I run this concert series, would you be interested? And he came back within 24 hours, which was beautiful, yes. So I was very excited to meet another musician and connect with his lovely wife, who is playing with him today. So that's kind of how this series works, is I just, I have friends, we've had people that I've reached out to that I worked with 35 years ago that were here. I've had people that I've met today, which would be Briana. So just a few things. The bathrooms are downstairs. I think the preschool is gone. There are some bathrooms upstairs if you really need them. Please silence any cell phones. And we do take, accept donations for these lovely performers to keep these concerts going and to hopefully build our, our audiences and stuff. So anyways, without further ado, I introduce Jared and Briana Hoffman, and they're going to bless us with some great music. So, thank you.
experiences as audience members, and we kept looking back to memories of being in these small villages in the middle of nowhere and just having music just kind of start up and everyone joins in and it's just a grand old time. And so we tried to bring a little bit of that energy here today with a concert where we're going to be playing some traditional folk music from Eastern Europe and then classical music that was inspired by that musical tradition. So the first little set that we have is by Bartok, who's kind of considered like the composer for folk-inspired music. And a lot of these are piano pieces that were inspired by him traveling around Hungary, where he's from, and collecting melodies from these like tiny mountain villages of like 10 to 20 people, and then setting them with his own accompaniment for classical instruments like piano and stuff. So all of these have been arranged by us, because this is not a very common ensemble, but it's the one we have. So, are you ready now?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
piece we have here is kind of interesting because it showcases, I guess I would say, like the breadth of what folk music can mean, because you know, some of the pieces we're going to play later on in the program are sort of traditional pieces that have been passed down through, you know, maybe centuries, and this one is a contemporary piece that has been written in folk style and originally for Greek folk instruments. And we have a couple little special effects here, just to give us a little extra backing, some percussion instruments that you'll hear. And following that, we're going to go to probably the most famous Greek composer, Xenakis. And this one is really interesting because, well, it's from very early in his career when he was especially influenced by Bartok, who we just heard, in terms of wanting to bring in these influences from his home country folk music into his compositions. Later in his career, as he went on, he completely disregarded that. He pushed that away. He didn't want anything to do with that, and he focused more on sort of mathematics in how he created his compositions. But I think you can hear some of that in this one as well, so it's kind of an interesting marriage of those two ideas. So enjoy.
actually is from one of our favorite folk traditions. It's the traditional music of the country of Georgia. The first is an arrangement that was originally written for the traditional Georgian flute called the salamuri, and it's just a collection of melodies from across the country. After that, we're going to hear a more modern piece from the mid-20th century by one of the most famous Georgian classical music composers. His name is Hoffman, and he was a very skilled cellist, which comes across in this composition that is originally for solo cello. So much like a piano, if you are a very skilled cellist, you can play myriad notes just by yourself, a bunch of chords and everything. But unfortunately, no matter how skilled of a bassoon or clarinetist you are, you're always going to need some help on that front. So we've taken his solo cello composition and arranged it for the two of us. And yeah, his music takes a lot of the thematic material from Georgian traditional folk music. So maybe, yeah. Hopefully it comes across in this. It's a little, it'll be a challenge, but it's in there if you listen for it.
have one last set of little Bartok piano pieces like at the beginning of the program. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out here, and thank you, Debbie, for hosting us in this beautiful space, a wonderful series. So get home safe, enjoy this one.